So, you're probably wondering, I'm finally in a new house. Today, I'm actually going to do a post-analysis video of a video that I was featured in, which is I let my AR60 friend review my account. It didn't quite go as expected. Now, this is a video from one of my good friends called Luma, the VTuber musician. Go check out his channel. He made some really cool stuff. He made music and he made Genshin content right now. And today, I'm going to do a post-analysis video on this particular video. So, what I did on this video is basically a reviewing my friend's account, which is Luma's account. He's an AR56 player, have been playing the game for a little while right now. But today, I'm strictly reviewing his account. And I also said some stuff here that is incorrect, some stuff that is wrong, and some stuff that probably just not right, and whatever the objective truth. So yeah, today I'm just gonna do a post analysis. This is not a reaction video, by the way. If you wanna just check out his video, just go ahead and check it out. I'll link it in the description down below, and also check out Luma's channel. The reason why this is not a reaction video, I recorded this one time, but this stupid mic, it didn't connect and it sounds bad. So you wanna see the results? Here it is.
As you guys know, I've been playing Genshin for a very long time, ever since 1.1. That is like
Anyways, yeah, let's get started. Okay, so this is his characters. As you guys can see, it's KLEE, Kokomi, Eula, Yelan, Bennett, and Sucrose. We're also gonna review his Bennett, Xiangling, and Xingqiu, because as you guys know, those are the three really good characters that you really need to build. Otherwise, what the hell are you doing? You need to build those three characters instantly.
Usually I would go for like 80% crit or something. And your talent is looking really bad.
Okay, I want to clarify on this part right now. If you guys can see,
for like 80% crit.
Usually for DPS, aim for 80% crit for crit weapons and 65% crit for non-crit weapons. This is not true. On technicality, it is true, but you need to at least have 65% crit rate on your on-field DPS. If you take a look at my account, none of my on-field DPS has below 65% crit. You need to at least have 65% crit rate on every single. Okay, for exceptions, if you have Ganyu, because Ganyu, you know, she has the 20% extra crit rate from his Frost like arrow, or probably like Ayaka, but Ayaka just benefits from the 4-piece blizzard. You need to at least have 65% crit rate on your on-field DPS. Other than that, you can focus on other stats after your 65% crit rate. For example, well, except for like Hu Tao, you do need 100 EM on Hu Tao first before you focus on your crit rate. But on on-field DPS generally, whatever it is, whether you use a crit weapon, a crit damage weapon, whether you use like I don't know, a crit weapon or whatever, you need to at least aim for 65% crit rate and then focus on crit damage later. Yes, it is also important to build some crit damage, but you need to at least have 65% crit rate for you to consistently consistently deal damage to your enemies. Well, for your off-fielders, it's a different story. You don't need as much as crit rate because they're dealing damage off-field, and usually most of your damage comes from on-field. Well, except for Xiangling though. Xiangling is just a little different. This is low on crit rate because I already have to catch. But other than that, this should be like 67% if I have to catch. So, yeah, you need to at least have 65% crit rate, especially on your on-fielder.
Because, you know, Pyro DPSs do need elemental mastery. Well, except for Linny.
Okay, so for EM on Pyro characters, it is important for you to have elemental mastery. Especially when it's Xiangling, especially when it's somebody like Hu Tao. I don't have Hu Tao right now, but I'm planning to pull on her later. But for Pyro characters, you do need to at least have 150 EM. I just got lucky on my Xiangling artifact here. Usually I have lower than 150. But on Pyro characters, yes, you do need 150 EM to consistently deal damage to Vaporize. However, on Mono Pyro like Linny, like I don't know, Mono Pyro KLEE or Mono Pyro Xiangling, yes, you don't need Elemental Mastery at all. But for KLEE, usually you still need Elemental Mastery if you're playing Vape on her. But if you don't, I would probably just recommend for you to build as much as attack as crit as possible, because it is still important. It is still more important to build crit on your Pyro characters other than your EM. Again, except if it's Hu Tao, because Hu Tao does need that 100 EM for it to consistently fade, because Hu Tao's charge attack doesn't have ICD, so you know you would consistently doing vape damage. And same thing with Xiangling. Xiangling doesn't have ICD on her Pyronado, so you need that Elemental Mastery very importantly. However, on other Pyro characters, like I don't know, Diluc here, I built my Diluc Virgin, but usually when you go for DPS, you don't need as much as Elemental Mastery because his ICD is pretty standard. However, when it comes to Xiangling and Hu Tao, you do need that Elemental Mastery because they have no ICD on their Pyro and charge attack, which is their core part, their core damage, where most of their damage comes from. And when it comes to Mono Pyro, you don't need Elemental Mastery.
This is not bad, okay? This is not terrible. With a 10% crit, my own standards, it's a pretty normal circle.
I want to reiterate on standards and artifact, because a lot of people just seem to don't understand a lot of standards when it comes to artifact. Artifacts, when it comes to your feather and your flower, you need to at least have double crit. Okay, this is a pretty bad one. Let's look at I'll hate them for now. So when it comes to your flower and feather, because they have fixed stats, you need to focus more on your substats. You need to have double crit. You just do, because it's a fixed stats, so there's no layers of RNG in it. Your only RNG on your feather and your flower is within the substats. However, when it comes to when it comes to these three pieces, it's a little different. Okay, it's just different because you need to gamble for your main stats and then finally focus on your substats. I think Circlet's the hardest, second hardest, and then the timepiece is just slightly less harder, because attack percent usually on your DPSs, you do want attack percent, and attack percent is actually pretty, it's a little more frequent than something like an Elemental Mastery, something like energy recharge. Attack percent is and usually your DPS want attack percent, well, except when it comes to someone like I'll hate them, but even Elemental Mastery isn't really that rare. But when you compare it to like an Elemental Mastery Goblet, that's completely different. The timepiece is a little easier than these two. It's not as easy as the feather and the flower. However, it is still a lot easier for you to find like a good stat and like a good main stat and a good substats rather than these two. Now, you don't need double crit on your stats right here, because it's already RNG on top of RNG. So you put yourself on a lower standards on these three rather than trying to find double crit. So for example, here I have like an okay attack stance here, but a 20% crit damage, and it's already justifiable enough for you to just put like a godly substats on your feather and your flower, because most of the good stats will come from your feather and your flower. And then these three will just complement your extra damage with Elemental Mastery with your main stats already. So you will just try to find at least one good stats, and hopefully it rolls into that good stat. And if like this one right here, the one I use on my Gene, I rolled most of it. I rolled 1 to flat attack, but most of it rolls into crit right here. So just find one, or well, if you got 2, then hopefully it rolls into that. But usually would just find one good stats, and hopefully it's either like crit, you know, Elemental Mastery. I mean, usually I would just go find crit, like always find like crit or double crit. If you got double crit, that you got lucky, obviously. But it's not really rare for you to find double crit. But usually I would just go find like a good main stat, and then just find one good substats, and hopefully it rolls into it too. And the same thing with Goblet. Goblets are just really hard to find, especially like a damage bonus Goblet. It's just so freaking hard to find. I got lucky in some of my rolls here, but just trying to find like a good damage Goblet is just so freaking hard. Especially Elemental Mastery is so much harder than a damage bonus Goblet. But it's on the same level with the timepiece. Just hopefully just try to find like one good stats, and hopefully it rolls into it. Now with Circlet, you usually want crit rate, right? You want crit rate and crit damage. Now the ideal substat on your crit is usually with another crit. you want either like a crit rate or crit damage circlet, and then the opposite on the substat. If you have a crit rate circlet, you want a crit damage substat. If you have a crit damage main stat, you want a crit rate substat. So it's basically just like, you know, potatoes, you know what I mean? It's pretty important to have this because you know, not only that it increases your crit value, but also adding some extra flexibility on your character. So yeah, I guess that's the, what is it called again? Artifact standards when it comes to, you know, endgame players.
No, you could do 4-piece SHIMENAWA, but like that's really
I want to say this out right now and say 4-piece SHIMENAWA on KLEE is absolutely not good. If you look at SHIMENAWAs, you see that the effect will increase your damage by normal attack and charge attack damage by 50%, which is pretty good. However, the problem with this set is that it takes away your energy. KLEE is pretty reliant on her burst. Most of her depth, some of the like at least 30-40% comes from her burst, and that 50% and extra normal and charge attack from her, it's not justifiable enough because she's pretty reliant on her burst. The same thing with Ayato. Ayato burst doesn't deal damage. However, the main thing that Ayato uses, the main thing about Ayato's burst is that it's pretty important. It adds hydro application, whereas KLEE, her burst is basic. Even though it's not her central core part of her kit, it's still pretty needed. You know, some of her damage comes from there. However, what I do recommend is 4-piece, not 4-piece SHIMENAWA, 2-piece attack with a 2-piece power damage. So you can mix match between like an 18% attack, like I don't know, you have gladiator, you have gladiators, you have echoes, you have vermilion, you have SHIMENAWAs, and then just add that with the 2-piece crimson. However, if you're playing mono Pyro, go for level walkers.
Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayer is her best in slot, and yes, it's a 3-star weapon. Yes, it's accessible. It is her best in slot. Good choice.
Okay, so yeah, I don't like Thrilling Tales. Well, Thrilling Tales is her best in slot. I just found Sacrificial Fragment comfier. The extra, I mean, it may be just skill issue, but I don't really like how you have an 8-second cooldown on your jellyfish. And if you use freeze with her, you constantly have to move the jellyfish in order for you to freeze. And that's really hard because the enemies, if you are in Spiral Abyss, your enemies would always constantly move. It just doesn't make her good enough. With Sacrificial Fragment, however, even though your jellyfish is still present, you can still reset the cooldown by just swapping out the Kokomi and just let her jellyfish attack. And then again with the 16-second 60-second cooldown, pretty aligned with her cooldowns. It just makes her a lot comfier to play on Sacrificial Fragment. And also the extra EM makes her that pretty worthwhile, pretty valuable on Eula Bloom teams. And that's where I usually use my Kokomi. I just never play Freeze because Freeze kind of sucks right now. Freeze is still a broken reaction, but like, man. Well, the last one that we had with a good Freeze is the 3.8 Abyss. But other than that, I just like Sacrificial Fragment better because it's just a more comfier and also looks better in Kokomi. If you want the most damage output possible, go for Thrilling Tales. Go for Thrilling Tales. The extra 48% attack is just so nice on your on-fielder.
You want quality. Ocean-hued clamp is her best for DPS, like for Taser Kokomi, or like you want to use like Nilo Bloom Kokomi. Ocean-hued can rival Tenacity, but overall, if you want to use your KLEE on like your Vaporize with your Kokomi, I do believe that 4-piece Tenacity is good. However,
that's true. I use 4-piece Tenacity on my Kokomi, and it's nice. It increases your party members' attack by 20%. And you don't really care about the shield strength, like I said, but the extra 20% attack, and you can always trigger it off field for 0.5 seconds. And even though it lasts for 3 seconds, that seems short, but you have to remember that Kokomi jellyfish ticks for probably 1.5 to 2 seconds. And it just aligns pretty well with her jellyfish ticks. So I would say for overall team DPS when it comes to Ayaka Freeze or even with Nilo Bloom, it isn't even that bad. So I would say 4-piece Tenacity is always better. However, it is not always her best in slot. I don't know, for an on-field Kokomi with a taser comp, or if you just want to build your Kokomi with crit, which you can, but it's not gonna be worth it because you know you need a lot of crit rate. Actually, no, don't build your Kokomi crit rate. You're insane if you do. For a taser Kokomi, on-field Kokomi, Ocean-hued is her best.
I do recommend 4-piece Pale Flame for the best, but for the most comfy, I would go 2-piece Bloodstain and 2 Pale Flame, which what I run on my Eula.
I don't like 4-piece Pale Flame. The effect can be pretty well triggered if you play your Eula rotations, but sometimes I just screw it up so much. So that's why I always go for even though the substats are pretty bad, I would always go for 2-piece Chivalry and 2-piece Pale Flame.
Find some energy recharge with Eula. Unless you have Raiden later with Eula. I should probably...
Yeah, I am going for Raiden. That is the plan. What do you...
Also, I wanna reiterate, yes, you do need some energy recharge on your Eula. Eula's pretty important for you to have energy recharge on. I have a pretty bad energy recharge here because if I always want to use my Eula, I would always go pair that with Raiden and someone with Favge. I would just switch my Xiangling from Black Tassel to Favge usually. So yeah, but again, just for comfy, for comfortability, go for 130 to 140 energy recharge for her.
You should use Favge because Favonius is like the best lineup of weapons in the entire game.
I still stand by that. The reason why I just think Favge is just the best lineup of weapons, not only that it gives your wielder a freaking high energy recharge, but also it regenerates a lot of particles. But Favonius Warbow just makes your energy recharge mitigated so much. Your entire energy team mitigated so much. And burst is very important in this game. So that makes Favge so freaking valuable.
What the? That is a ton of energy recharge! What?
This Yelan build is just so notorious, man. It's so big. How the frick did he get 300% energy recharge?
HP is not that good for Yelan. Unless you have a god roll in your HP, like 50 crit value or like 45 crit value on your HP. Sure, you can use an HP Circlet.
HP Circlets are definitely easier than a crit Circlet, but you will always go for crit rate over HP every freaking day. Yes, it increases your damage if you use HP, but with crit it also increases your damage a lot more. And if you're using Favge Warbow, it's necessary to have a crit rate Circlet.
But at the moment, she's basically just solo Yelan because I literally just need to hit 2 enemies with my skill and I get my burst back.
Yeah, you need to hit your skill to enemies and get your burst back. That's a basic Yelan rotation. If you don't use your E twice on your single rotation on your own, you basically don't know how to play her. Please, please, please have 2 rotations on your skill. And even then, with 181 ER, with a Favge Warbow, you still get your burst back. If you don't know what I mean, here I'm gonna show you. I'm going to pick a random one, and we're gonna go like this. We go to burst. And we go attack. Here we go. As you guys can see, already half. And there we go. With enough trigger Favge, you already have your burst before you even do your second E. With 181% ER and with Favge, you basically get your burst back before you even did your second rotation. And okay, granted I use R5 for Favonius Warbow, so it's easier for her to trigger Favge. But at the same time, even with 181 ER, if you got your rotations right, you got basically enough energy for you to trigger your burst every single rotation. Having a 300% ER on your Yelan is so unnecessary. You can just... dude, this Yelan build is just so mesmerizing for me. It's just insane.
So I guess she recently got replaced with Yelan, but before I was running her for Swell to decrease Pyro res. But however, because
I'm gonna say this up right now, Luma's pretty knowledgeable. Usually on AR-56 players who doesn't play for meta, they don't know anything. They just put random artifacts into their character and they're just gone. And then they're wondering why my character doesn't do damage. Like you built them wrong, man. But Luma's here is pretty freaking knowledgeable. He just said about Pyro, he knows about gauge theory. I'm surprised.
What?
All the best main stats are on the.
Okay, yeah, sucrose do need Wait, where's my sucrose? Okay, please don't be mad at me when I don't build my sucrose, okay? This character is amazing, however, I just don't like her playstyle. So that's the reason why I don't build her. You do need elemental mastery on your sucrose, but however, the more important, sucrose has a more important thing, and that is just basically being VV. However, yes, it is important for you to have EM on your sucrose, because not only that she deals damage via swirl, but also having this passive right here. However, even if you don't have amazing VV, even if you have like this garbage VV, you can just still put it on sucrose and just put like a random 4-piece VV, even if it's HP, even if it's crit rate. She's basically just a VV driver. That's the more crucial role for sucrose. That is being a VV driver.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, it has.
What? What did you do? Why is it just such a level 1?
Okay, I want to reiterate that I was being overreacting. I already know that his Xingqiu isn't built, but I was being very overreactive because, come on, for entertainment for the video. And the video did pretty well too, 63 views.
Something why I'm so mad at this build. Okay,
It's not even a build. It's just like an unbuilt Xingqiu.
the best Hydro character in Genshin. Even Yelan is not as good. Even Kokomi is not as good.
A lot of people say that Yelan is better than Xingqiu, and that's just blatantly not true. The only thing that Yelan excels is basically her E is pretty good at exploration, and her bursts just deal more damage because it's HP scaling. What you guys didn't know is that Xingqiu has damage reduction. He increases your resistance to interruption. He heals you. He has better Hydro application than Yelan, and he's a 4-star. So you have access to his constellations a lot easier. And by some degree, he can deal even bigger damage if you did put him on a high base attack weapon, and like a Mistsplitter or Force. He can deal even bigger damage than Yelan, because Yelan weapon options, there isn't much that increases your attack, and Xingqiu can basically outdamage Yelan if he even wanted to. To each their own. I think Yelan is just more fun than Xingqiu. But aside from that point, Xingqiu is still better by a mile.
Why didn't you build him?
Because I got him on the same banner I was going for Yelan, so.
Why didn't you build Xingqiu first before Yelan?
I literally.
Okay, the reason why I'm so mad is that, okay, you can build whoever you want first. It doesn't freaking matter. However, Xingqiu is just a must build, man. If you don't build your Xingqiu, your Bennett, and your Xiangling, what are you doing? What are you doing? What world are you living in? You just hate these characters so much that you just don't want to build them. These guys will literally change your account for the better. Yes, you can build your Yelan first because you got Yelan, and then you got Xingqiu, which is, cool, I guess. However, after you build your Yelan, it is much obliged for you to build your Xingqiu, because they're basically almost the same character, and two, Xingqiu just does better stuff than Yelan, and he's easier to build too. So yeah.
Xingqiu needs Sacrificial Sword or Favonius Sword. I would personally go for Favonius if your Sacrificial Sword is not above Refinement rank 3, because Favonius Sword is so good. I would just go for Fav if your Sacrificial is not R3 or more. That
is not true. Xingqiu on Fav is objectively better than any Sacrificial or Refinement. Xingqiu especially when your Favonius Sword is rank 5, it's technically even better than Refinement rank 5 Sacrificial Sword. The reason why it's so better is because one, your entire party gets energy, and that's just important, especially if you're using National. And two, it's smoothened out your rotations. It makes Xingqiu so much easier to play on Favonius Sword. And in Raiden National, Favonius is actually even better than Sacrificial Sword, because not only that it aligns pretty well with your rotations if you use Raiden National, but two, it generates your party member entire energy by a lot. Usually Xiangling doesn't have her burst ready even after you use your Raiden's burst. So that's where Favoni's Xingqiu comes from. However, Sacrificial Xingqiu is much comfier to play, especially when you only use like this particular team right now that I'm gonna show you. If you use like a single Hyper Bloom team where you use just Xingqiu as your only Hydro, I would always go for Sacrificial over Favoni's. Because my Nahida's on Witsit right now. If you look at my Nahida, she's purely on a DPS build. He won't have, even if you have Favoni's on your Xingqiu, he won't have enough energy. That's where Sacrificial Soul comes in. Yes, it's not gonna be as smooth on using like a Favoni's sword. His rotation's not gonna be as smooth. However, with Sacrificial, your Xingqiu's energy requirement is just gone. Just use your E twice and you're basically done.
Yeah, I mean, Xiangling works with every weapon. I would personally go for Favge or the catch. I use the catch on Xiangling and it's incredible.
Yes, I did use the catch on Xiangling, and even now, I use the catch on Xiangling. Well, not only that it gives you ER, but also increases your freaking burst damage by 32% and crit rate by 12%. So you can just basically mitigate your crit rate by a little bit, and just focus on crit damage a little more. But obviously, the catch isn't always her best. Skyward Spine can be a little bit better. Dragon's Bane can be a little bit better because the EM, and usually you play Xiangling on wave teams. I wouldn't recommend anything other than Star Glitter is pretty good because it's a free-to-play option. It's a baseline free-to-play option for Xiangling. Actually, no, that's wrong. Baseline free-to-play option is the catch. Port-up Star Glitter is just if you don't want to farm the catch. It's pretty good actually, but 5 lands works well with her. However, if you're just running Ride National, I would put the catch on Xiangling and then just use Favoni's lands on Raiden.
Yeah, I'm not. Unfortunately, all my characters have constellations. I don't use them. I've got Razor at C5 because he just.
I do remember.
That's kind of unfortunate because Xingqiu's and Xiangling's constellations is just really insane. His C1's pretty bad because it just increases the healing capability. That's it. Yeah, it doesn't deal any damage. This one's pretty insane because it extends your duration of your ult. And then it decreases your Hydro Res. But the more important thing is just it increases your damage from Xingqiu by an extra 3 seconds on your ult. It's insane. This one's just scaling. This one's pretty good because it increases your ease damage after you use your burst. It's okay, but it's kind of niche. This one's whatever. This one's pretty insane, and it basically just regenerates energy for your Xingqiu. But also it deals even more damage. It's basically just adding 6 brainstorms for the final instances of attack. And for Xiangling, C1 is whatever, you don't use Guoba. This one's garbage. This one just increases your Pyro NATO damage by a lot, and it's pretty good. This one's insane. The duration increased by 40%, so base duration is basically 10 seconds. From 10 seconds you get to 14%, and your cooldown aligns with it pretty well too. So this one's ridiculous, and these two are just whatever. This increases your Pyro. This is just basically for mono Pyro, and yeah, both of them are pretty good constellations. It's just that Xingqiu's constellation is more valuable than Xiangling's. But even then, Xiangling's still really insane.
The buff, the attack buff comes from the base attack. Okay, not attack percent, but base attack, which only comes from your weapon.
That is true. Build your Bennett with an HP or a crit. I'm gonna explain it later after this, but always go for a high base attack weapon with enough ER for you to use your Bennett on cooldown. I'm running him on a Kilo of Avonia, and then I have level max talents on his burst, and with enough ER for him to use his burst on cooldown.
4-piece Noblesse, go for healing bonus or HP on this one. Go for HP one on this, and go for ER for this one.
Okay, so I want to reiterate that and say that while that is still good, I run my Bennett on burst support. I run him on a Pyro Damage Cup and Critter Circle. Now, is that necessary? Not particularly. If your Bennett just wants to be pure healing, you can go find a healing bonus circlet. Like a good healing bonus circlet, and then just go for HP on this one. It's still fine. It's still completely fine if you want to build that. But Bennett just heals a ton. Like a Ching died right there. Okay, we don't need to talk about that. And right now, again, my Bennett is on 17k HP. And my artifact, I'm running him on a crit rate and a damage bonus, okay? Bennett. And we go to Kaching. That's a lot. That's 3,000 every tick. That happens every single, like, 1 second or like point something seconds. It's a lot. If you build him healing, you gain like 6,000 from his healing, which is pretty good. It's really big actually, but it's just so unnecessary. Those extra healing that you gain from Bennett is so wasted. That's why I opted him to build his burst support, so that he can squeeze out a little bit of damage for your team. And with the noblesse already, with an extra burst damage 20%, your burst will deal a lot of damage. And if he uses burst, you can deal 20k damage and 13k with his E. And you're still not gonna die. You're still not gonna die. You're not gonna die. Even with, look at it, I'm getting abused by these enemies, and I still deal, and they still deal no damage. Because Bennett's healing is already so much. It's so unnecessary to build him with HP percent if you have this enough healing. Let's getting damage again. Let's get some damage on my Bennett here. So look at this. I go to my Bennett and he heals immediately, and my HP is almost full. And with that, you can still squeeze a little bit of damage from the Bennett. But the more important thing that you need to learn from the character, from Bennett especially, is that you need to have enough ERTs to person cooldown. That's where ER sense. Well, you can use like an attack sense and just go run him with a Skyward Blade if you have it. But I would always just go up for energy recharge because it's more safer to go that way. So yeah, you can build. You can still go for an HP focused Bennett, but having a burst support Bennett is just more valuable in my opinion because he already heals a lot. With this build, your E will deal a decent amount of damage. Your burst will deal a ton of damage because the scaling is pretty high. Anyways, yeah, as always, go check out Luma's channel. He's a really cool dude, and he just makes really good content in general. You can see he made some really cool music. He made some DDMC stuff, and he's basically just overall a really cool person in general. He's really chill. You should join his Discord server or whatever. I'll link the video in the description down. Yeah, I guess that's it. If you have any questions regarding Genshin or Luma or whatever, just put down in the comments and maybe we'll answer. And yeah, I guess that's just everything that I want to say. Yeah, I'll see you in the next video, and hopefully he's gonna build his Xingqiu and his Yelan correctly right now.